Another MLB legend, one of my dad's favorite players of all time, Andre Dawson. 1977 Rookie of the Year with the Montreal Expos.
Yeah.
Only one of 2 players to win Rookie of the Year as an Expo.
Who's the other?
Carl something. I don't remember what his name is. Not a guy that you need to remember.
Okay, I didn't say he had that one.
I did the research because I thought Andre Dawson was the only guy, but there was a second guy, and I don't even remember his name because
after that it's kind of like Andrew Raycroft.
So yeah, and NL Rookie of the Year in '77 with the Expos, MVP in '87 for a last place Chicago Cubs team,
Nice.
just legend. One of 5 players with 400 home runs and 300 stolen bases. Very interesting story about Andre Dawson. In his last season with the Expos, a little bit of fighting going on with the Expos upper management, and he wasn't going to get re-signed. Bad knees from playing in Olympic Stadium a little bit, and he had a hard time finding a team to play for.
Really?
Yeah. So him and his agent came up with this blank contract strategy. So they approached teams and said, "We want to play. Pay me what you think I'm worth."
Oh.
So he signed with the Chicago Cubs for $500,000 in 1987.
That's still quite a
1980s, not really for back then. For his value, what he could have been making. In 1987 was when he won the MVP, hitting .287, 49 home runs, 137 RBIs.
Nice.
Also won his 7th Gold Glove. Like, 500,000 was a steal. Never before seen. Pretty sure his mustache helped him keep warm up there in the cold Montreal.
It does help.
Cold Montreal winters.
Like when I shave my sides down, man, it gets cold.
And I'm sure the Quebec ladies loved it too.
St. Catherine Street's probably where you roam.
But my number one MLB legend, all those other guys were great. Number one MLB legend, definitely Eddie Murray.
Yeah, he was actually on my list, but I took him off and I replaced him with Tito Gaston just because I wanted some Blue Jay representation.
Has to go to Eddie Murray. 500 home runs, 3,000 hits. Only 6 players have done that. Second switch hitter to hit 500 home runs. The other one is the great Mickey Mantle. AL Rookie of the Year in '77, World Series in '83. Played on some great Baltimore Orioles teams under Earl Weaver. Basically in the running for the MVP in the AL for like 12 years. I mean, look at that mustache. You got the sideburns that kind of come in, that almost join, but they're there. They don't.
It's got a little gap.
The thick stash, the afro. Definitely a good looking mustache for an MLB legend.
Yeah.
And that's the end of my 5th category.
So getting back to our list, we're going to do 4, 3, 2, and then we'll leave our number 1, obviously, for last, clearly. My number 4 is only on there because of The Simpsons. If anybody's ever watched the episode of Talkin' Softball, Mr. Burns is at Don Mattingly to shave his sideburns, and clearly Mr. Burns is talking about his mustache, but sideburns are here, not here, and Don Mattingly shaves basically a horseshoe over his head, and then gets kicked off the team. That's why he's my number 4.
Isn't the joke in that episode? It's that no one can see the sideburns, but Mr. Burns or something like that.
I'm not 100% sure.
Come on, you're gonna bring up Mattingly and
you
can't do the. You gotta do it.
Shave those sideburns, Mattingly.
There you go.
You're off the team. He starts yelling at him. Mr. Burns, I don't think you know what sideburns are. Anyways, my number 3, Dennis Eckersley. He could have been my number 1, but I'm saving that. Eckersley is definitely a top 3 mustache man. Just the way he was so pumped whenever he struck out or won a game. So more because of his intensity on the field and the mustache. But
I got some great stories about Eckersley later.
He was a freaking madman. And my number 2 goes to Goose Gossage. He was on my CJMQ list, so there's no way I could keep him off this one. I believe when I did that list, he was honestly in my top 5. Just the over and then it was like a new style of like handlebars buste. I really enjoy that mustache.
Very bushy horseshoe.
Yeah, down here.
Horseshoe style, yeah.
So
I got some good stories about that too.
Sweet. So he is my number 2, and then we'll move on to Kevin's 4, 3, and 2.
So my number 4, I went with the same category kind of method, and I went with TV movie stars, and I know what you may be thinking, that this doesn't make any sense. This is a baseball list about mustaches, and well, it makes sense once I get into it.
Ooh, that's a good beer.
So I don't know if you remember a little movie called Mr. Baseball.
I do.
Tom Selleck was the star. I know he's not an MLB player, but he did play a baseball player in the movie. So he plays an aging baseball star that's traded to the Chunichi Dragons of the Japanese Central League. And, of course, he's reluctant to go because he's an MLB star and he doesn't want to go to Japan and blah, 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 all that stuff. Eventually, he goes and, he takes his iconic Tom Selleck mustache all the way to Japan. He's got to deal with the cultural differences on the field, the cultural differences off the field. I don't think he had too much of a hard time because he ends up,
Oh, so that's not a Dodgers logo.
No, it's the Dragons.
Oh, Jesus.
He doesn't have too much trouble with the culture because he ends up wooing the manager's daughter, and when you gotta finally groom chick magnet like that, so he seduces the manager's daughter, and I guess he later probably marries her as well. And I remember watching this movie, and
I haven't seen it in years.
It's got some pretty funny parts when he's learning to kind of get used to the Japanese style of baseball and stuff. It's got some funny moments. I mean, for sure, it's Tom Selleck, so
yeah, for sure.
Tom Selleck sells the movie.
Yeah, 100%.
Next guy, gonna have to put in there, is Keith Hernandez. Keith Hernandez was an actual baseball player. He played in the major leagues.
In a movie.
And how he fits into the TV and movie stars is because he was in 2 episodes of Seinfeld.
Show I never watched.
Yeah, he's in back-to-back episodes of Seinfeld, and he also is he stars in commercials for Just for Men. He's in there as well.
Okay.
So I had to put him in. You know, he's famous for he won the '86 World Series with the Mets, and he had one of the most famous mustaches in MLB history. How is he a TV star? Like I said, Seinfeld. He used his upper lip hair to seduce Elaine in the show. It didn't work out. He also shows a great sense of pride and taking care of it as being a spokesperson for Just for Men.
Your stash is trash.
In 2017, he was declared winner of the best mustache by the American Mustache Institute. Yes, that's a real thing.
Damn.
The American Mustache Institute, you can't make this stuff up. It's an institution promoting the acceptance of mustaches in the workplace. So, if you ever have trouble, hopefully there's a Canadian affiliate that you can contact if you start making fun of you at work. But, well, hopefully that works out. And I mean, be a little tongue-in-cheek here. For as great a mustache he has had playing for the Mets during the 80s, I'm surprised he never came out on field on national TV with a little dusting on the
baby.
Little dusting on the bristles. But we'll move along to my number 3 category. One of my favorites to do when I was putting this together. My childhood favorites. I didn't realize how many childhood favorite baseball players were also players with mustaches. There's a few guys that come to mind when I think about mustaches in baseball, and they turned out to be pretty great baseball players as well. I had
all pitchers.
I had dozens and dozens, hundreds of baseball cards. My brothers and I, we collected baseball cards, whether I knew the guys or not, watched them, didn't matter. Had baseball cards, we watched them, baseball with my dad, so we were aware of baseball. My dad had tons of baseball books when we were kids. We read tons of different things, so you kind of develop some favorites along the way. One of my favorites, you already mentioned him, Dennis Eckersley.
Yeah.
He's one of the first guys I think about when I think of baseball player with a mustache. I remember having a baseball card. I think it was Upper Deck. You know, he's got that crazy sidearm delivery. He's like glaring over his
and
other
all you see
arm.
is the mustache.
You got
over
the
arm.
mustache, that squinty glare as he's throwing. You know, thick mustache. I remember thinking that he looked like a nasty dude. I mean, as a kid, when you see someone like that, I was like, that's got to be a nasty dude. And he was actually a really crazy baseball player. He won the AL MVP in '92.
As a
closer. Beat out Barry Bonds.
Wow.
A surprising thing about Eckersley is he started his career as a starter, and he actually has 200 wins as a starter.
I didn't know that.
And then he turned around and saved 390 games,
wow,
which is 7th all time.
That's impressive. Imagine if you've been a closer the whole time. You probably have the record.
And
close.
He threw a no-hitter as a
starter.
starter.
Wow.
I mean, the resume for this guy just speaks for itself. And the mustache, he's kept it the same way.
He still has it now. Like I think every time you see him on TV.
Long hair, mustache, it's always there. The next guy, speaking about baseball cards, I searched and searched for the baseball card that I had.
You're telling me.
Rod Beck.
Also on my list.
Also on your list. I know I had a card. I don't know if it was Upper Deck. I don't know if it was Topps, O-Pee-Chee. I know I had a card. It was the Giants. Rod Beck. He's got the long, bushy hair, crazy horseshoe mustache. I mean, we're going to throw a picture up of him on the Cubs. Looks like a mugshot.
I'm telling you.
The guy had crazy...
It's a prerequisite when you have a mustache in your picture.
He had a thick, bushy horseshoe mustache. He looks like an escaped convict that somehow found his way onto a baseball team.
Exactly.
But my favorite childhood player with a mustache, I'm wearing his jersey when he was with Arizona, Randy Johnson. How do you not love that guy? The big
All
unit.
3 of your guys were on my individual list.
Personal favorite for sure. I mean, the guy played for so many years, lots of different teams, successful with so many.
Killed a dove.
I wasn't going to bring that up, man.
But that's important. Well, it's not, but it's cool at the same time.
You know, multiple teams, thousands of strikeouts. I think he's number 2. He won a pitching triple crown, Cy Young Awards, a no-hitter, a perfect game, World Series champ. Everyone remembers that bird incident.
Yeah.
But do you remember a 1994 movie called Little Big League?
No.
You don't remember Little Big League? So a kid's grandpa...
Our video store didn't have it.
A kid's grandpa, okay?
Oh, it's such a nice one.
A kid's grandpa leaves in his will the Minnesota Twins to the kid.
Oh, okay.
So the kid, he might be in middle school or something. So he gets the Minnesota Twins. And the kid, he becomes owner and then later manager of the Twins. I mean, this is only something you can do in movies. He somehow manages the team into a wild card game against, you guessed it, the Seattle Mariners. Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr., the whole bit. So, down to their last out, the Twins batter comes up to face Randy Johnson coming out of the bullpen.
Oh.
It's wild card game. Wild card game, and it's,
can happen,
like I said,
right?
still movies. Randy Johnson coming out of the bullpen. 6'10", scowling, long hair, mustache, of course. Just menacing. Wild, too. Just, watching him, he didn't have as much control. In the movie, he did, but in real life, the guy didn't have much control for some pitches. He So the batter hits the second pitch. If they hit a home run, he wins. They win the game. Fairy tale ending. They beat Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr. They go to the kid manager. All that crazy stuff.
Did they lose?
Ken Griffey Jr. robs the home run.
Oh, no way.
To end the game and essentially end the movie.
No, what? That's how it stops?
That's how it ends.
Are you serious?
Because it's not about that. Because the guy gets to marry the kid's mom, and it's
all right, okay. I was going to say, that sounds like a crappy ending.
Randy Johnson, Little Big League, 1994.
Ruins the movie for people.
Actually, Griffey robs the home run.
So
he ruins the home run. So, basically from what I gathered from my childhood favorites, if you had long hair, you had a mustache,
It looked like a
I thought you were a mean-looking dude, as you could see from those three guys.